Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I will be reviewing the Heaven and Hell live from Radio City Music Hall concert Blu-ray. So this version comes as part of the new Heaven and Hell Breaking Out of Heaven 2007 to 2009 box set. I'll show you everything that's included real quick, but I will only be reviewing the Radio City concert Blu-ray today. So this box set has a load of good stuff for a pretty reasonable price of only, I think, $60 to $70 that I paid for it. The first thing is you have a cover page that lists all the contents inside. A pretty thick booklet that has just a ton of good pictures, info about the band, their history, all the members, some essays, interviews, all kinds of good stuff. Along with that, you have a smaller, basically a 2007 tour book from the tour. Again, a lot of good pictures, information about the tour. A fold-out poster, which I'm not going to open. And then the meat of the set, which is the DVDs and the Blu-ray. So you have the CD for The Devil Let You Know, which was the last album that Heaven and Hell did together. A double CD for the Heaven and Hell Live at Wacken concert. A double CD of the Heaven and Hell Live at Radio City Music Hall concert. And then the Blu-ray, which contains both of the Blu-ray concerts, the Radio City concert video, as well as the Neon Nights, 30 Years of Heaven and Hell Live at Wacken, and a ton of bonus features, which I'll get into as part of the review. So I was relatively latecomer to the Ronnie James Dio era of Black Sabbath. My first memorable encounter with that version of the band was during an early viewing of the animated cult classic Heavy Metal around 1981. Who can forget that scene where a massive green orb crashes into a mountain, triggering a volcanic eruption that transforms the horrified townspeople into a frenzied mob of monsters hell-bent on destroying their neighboring city? All of this unfolds to the ominous backdrop of Black Sabbath's E5150, which eventually explodes into the crushing opening riff of The Mob Rules. It did not take more than that to make me a big fan. I was already a huge fan of Dio's solo work. His first two powerhouse albums, Holy Diver and The Last in Line, were practically the soundtrack to my last few years of high school. By the mid-'80s, though, my taste had shifted more towards the hair metal scene, and I'd largely drifted away from the heavier, doomier sounds of Black Sabbath. The various Ozzy Osbourne reunions definitely sparked some renewed curiosity, but it wasn't until the release of Black Sabbath, the Dio Years compilation in 2007, that my interest in Dio-era Sabbath was truly reignited. To be honest, I didn't really have high expectations for this concert video when it was released. While Dio's previous DVD, Holy Diver Live, delivered an undeniably strong performance, his once mighty vocals were not exactly in top form that night. It's been reported that he had a bad cold at the time, though. And also, belting out metal anthems for more than 4 decades must certainly have taken its toll as well. With Dio pushing 64 years of age here and bandmates Iommi and geezer Butler not far behind, I wasn't sure how much energy and enthusiasm this reunion would bring. At least Vinny Appice, at the tender age of 50, seemed like a safe bet to deliver the goods here. Any doubts I had were quickly laid to rest after watching this incredible concert. Not only does Dio sound better than he had in over a decade, but Masters Iommi, Butler, and Appice were still rocking harder than ever. In fact, many of these live performances completely blow away their studio counterparts, if you ask me. This concert film captured live at New York's Radio City Music Hall on March 30th, 2007 opens exactly as I would have expected, with the ominous tones of E5150 filling the air, just as the theater lights drop to complete darkness, immediately setting a haunting mood. As the music builds, flashes of white strobe lighting and deep blue spotlights gradually reveal an impressive stage design. Two towering iron gates flank the drum riser, each supported by massive stone pillars, creating a gothic, almost theatrical presence. Behind them lies a cleverly imagined cemetery where guitar and bass amplifier stacks stand like headstones, adding a striking visual layer to the performance. The only real stumble during the show was when E5150 transitions into the slow and plodding After All the Dead from 1992's Dehumanizer album, instead of exploding into Mob Rules like everyone was probably expecting. It's not that After All is a bad song, it's just that it brought the momentum that E5150 was building to a screeching halt. I just don't get that decision. They did make up for it soon enough by following Mob Rules, but oh how much more effective it would have been in the previous spot in the set list. Next up, they launch into a couple of Heaven and Hell classics as the stage backdrop is now fully adorned with the brilliant Heaven and Hell album cover image. Dio introduces Children of the Sea as the very first song we ever wrote together, before they turn in an amazing performance of that and Lady Evil. A pair of Dehumanizer tracks, I and Computer God, make their appearance and kick ass, alongside two then new additions, The Devil Cried and Shadow of the Wind from the Dio Years compilation. The two newer songs stand out as some of the heaviest in the band's catalog, serving as a defiant statement that age has done nothing to dull their intensity. Just listen to the way Dio launches into The Devil Cried, snarling, "One fine day in hell," with enough ferocity to hit the back rows with a few drops of his spit. Still, the night ultimately belongs to the Heaven and Hell and Mob Rules era material, which clearly takes center stage here. There were simply too many standout moments to list, but the 4 Heaven and Hell tracks that they unleashed back to back to close the show were absolutely mind-blowing. Following a blistering performance of Die Young, they launched into a gloriously extended 15-minute rendition of Heaven and Hell to cap off the first set. And just when it seemed impossible to top that, they returned for a 2-song encore, Lonely is the Word and Neon Nights, and somehow raised the bar even higher. What a performance. The overall production quality of this Blu-ray is excellent. The new DTS HD Master Audio 5.1 surround mix sounds awesome and is a marked improvement over the DVD's mediocre Dolby Digital 5.1 audio. The mix has great instrument separation and clarity and really puts you right down into the crowd. An excellent sounding LPCM 2.0 option is also included, but the DTS is superior if your system supports it. The 1080i HD presentation looked nearly flawless to me, and the camera work was mostly good, but the cuts did come a little too quick at times for my taste. Extras include 4 short features, Heaven and Hell Road Movie, Hail the Gods of Metal, Meet the Mob, and Radio City, and The Wisdom of Dio, which provides some excellent behind-the-scenes footage and interviews with the band, crew, and fans. Also included are 30th anniversary individual interviews with each band member, as well as each of them paying their tributes to Dio. The set list shown here featured 15 songs and the runtime was 1 hour and 55 minutes. As for my ratings of this concert Blu-ray, my overall production rating is a 9 out of 10. And my overall performance rating is also a 9 out of 10. So this performance came less than 3 years before Ronnie James Dio was diagnosed with stomach cancer, a diagnosis that would sadly lead to his passing just 5 months later. What makes this concert so powerful is how alive it feels. The band plays with the same fire and precision as if it were 1980 all over again. And at the center of it all, Dio proves exactly why he's still regarded as one of the greatest frontmen in heavy metal history, commanding the stage with unmatched presence, voice, and energy. All right, that's it for me today. Let me know your thoughts on Heaven and Hells live from Radio City Music Hall in the comments. And please don't forget to like and subscribe for more. Thanks, and catch you next time.